Hello friends, in surface chemistry, in this video we will discuss about the purification and properties of colloidal solutions. First, how can we purify the colloidal solution? The process used for reducing the amount of impurities to a requisite minimum is known as purification of colloidal solution. Once again, see, this we are not completely removing the impurities. Actually, presence of some amount of impurities is necessary for the stability of the lyophobic sol. Clear? But if more amount of impurities there, it will coagulate the lyophobic sol. That's why we have to remove the extra amount of electrolyte. Okay, that's why we are saying that is impurities to a requisite minimum. It should be present, and more than this it should we have to remove, and for this we use the process dialysis, electrodialysis and ultrafiltration. I think from dialysis you are familiar. When kidney is not working, then to remove the unwanted, or we can say urine, from our body, we use the dialysis. Okay, this is the same process. It is a process of removing a dissolved substance from a colloidal solution by means of a diffusion through a suitable membrane. Now, what type of membrane we will use? Since particles, that is ions or smaller molecules in a true solution can pass through animal membrane like bladder, parchment paper or cellophane sheet, but not the colloidal particles. Clear? That's why these membranes are used for dialysis. And the apparatus used for this purpose is called dialyzer. You can see in this diagram. Okay, in this case we are taking the impure colloidal solution in this, and just see these particles represent the crystalloid, that is crystalline substance which we have to remove. Okay, and these represent the sol particle. If we pass the water continuously from one side, then the crystalloid will pass from this colloidal solution along with the water. Okay, now electrodialysis. Actually, this is the dialysis. Normal condition dialysis is a slow process. To enhance the process, if we use the electric potential, then this is known electrodialysis. Okay, ordinary process is quite slow. It can be made faster by applying electric field if the dissolved substance in the impure colloidal solution is only an electrolyte, because electrolytes have the positive ion and negative ion. That's why when we apply the electric field, these positive and negative ions move to the oppositely charged electrodes. Okay, and this is called electrodialysis. Simply we are applying, like this is anode and this side is cathode. This, now we can say this positively charged ion will move toward the cathode and negatively charged ion move towards the anode. This is called electrodialysis. Next one is ultrafiltration. As we know, colloids cannot be separated by using normal filter paper, because in case of normal filter paper the pore size is large, colloidal particle will pass through. But if we use the ultra filter paper, clear, then we can separate the colloidal particles. Now, how can this ultra filter paper can be made? Ultra filter paper is prepared by soaking the filter paper in collodion, clear, solution, hardening by formaldehyde, and then finally drying it. Now, what is this collodion? This collodion is a 4% solution of nitrocellulose in a mixture of alcohol and ether. That's why by using ultra filter paper we can separate the colloidal particles. Next, properties of colloidal solution. First one is colligative property. In the solution we have discussed. Okay, values of colligative properties are of small order as compared to values shown by the true solution at same concentration. Try to understand. If we have the same concentration of true solution and colloidal, but number of particles in colloid are less, clear, because their size is, colloidal particle are more in size. That's why their number are smaller. When number are smaller, their colligative value of the colligative property is also smaller. Tyndall effect. Again, you are familiar this. When a beam of light falls at right angles to the line of view through a colloidal solution, the colloidal solution appears to be luminescent, and due to scattering of light, the path becomes visible. Simply we can say colloidal particles are sufficient large to scatter the light, and when this light is scattered, that path become visible. This is called Tyndall effect. Color. The color of colloidal solution depends on the wavelength of light scattered by the dispersed particle. Okay, and the wavelength of light further depends on the size and nature of the particles. Color of colloidal solution also changes with the manner in which the observer receives the light. See one example. A mixture of milk and water appears blue when viewed by the reflected light and red when viewed by the transmitted light. I think you can understand what is the reflected light and what is transmitted light. Finest gold soul is red in color. As the size of particles increases, it appears purple, then blue, and finally golden. That is, as the size is also changes, the wavelength of light scattering will also change. That's why color will also change. Next one, Brownian moment. Brownian. Actually, zigzag motion is known as Brownian moment. Zigzag motion. We can say that is, we can't determine the exact path in any direction they are moving. It's called zigzag motion. It was first observed by the British botanist Robert Brown. That's why it is named as Brownian moment. This motion is independent of the nature of the colloid but depends on size of the particles and the viscosity of the solution. Okay, smaller the size and lesser the viscosity, faster is the motion. Viscosity, you know, viscosity, this is resistance to flow. That is called viscosity, depends on the intermolecular force. That is, lesser viscosity means less force of attraction. That's why motion is fast. This motion is due to the unbalanced bombardment of the particles by molecules of the dispersion medium. When dispersion medium molecule will strike to the dispersed particle, they move, and that motion is known as Brownian motion. The Brownian moment has a stirring effect. Stirring means we are shaking. Clear? We are shaking, this effect, and which does not permit the particles to settle, and thus is responsible for the stability of soul. Remember it. This question may be asked, what is the reason or stability of the soul? This is one of the reason, Brownian moment. Okay. Next one is charge on colloidal particles. This is one of the important property of colloidal solution. Colloidal particles always carry an electric charge. It may be either positive or negative. The presence of equal and similar charges on colloidal particle is largely responsible in providing stability to the colloidal solution. Dear student, again just remember, this is the another reason of the stability of colloidal solution. There is charge present of the colloidal particles. All the colloidal particles carry the same charge. That's why they repel to each other and they will not settle down. Okay. Now, how this charge is appears. Charge on the Sol particles is due to one or more reasons, namely, which means namely, these may be reason due to electron capture by Sol particles during electrodispersion of metals, due to preferential adsorption of ions from solution, and or due to formulation of electrical double layer. Okay, we will discuss that second one is in detail. What is this? Preferential adsorption of ions. So we can say this is development of charge on Sol particles by preferential adsorption of ions. The Sol particles acquire positive or negative charge by preferential adsorption of positive or negative ions. When two or more ions are present in the dispersion medium, preferential adsorption of the ion common to the colloidal particle usually takes place. Remember it, if more than one ion is present, then ion which is common to the colloidal particle will adsorb. Okay, let us see two examples we will discuss. When silver nitrate solution is added to potassium iodide solution, Okay, what reaction is taking place? Silver nitrate plus potassium iodide. It will form colloidal particle of silver iodide. That is precipitated silver iodide. Now this adsorb iodide ions from the dispersion medium. Okay, and this is negatively charged. We are saying in this case dispersion medium is potassium iodide. Okay, and this is also the silver iodide. So which is common among potassium iodide and silver iodide? Iodide is common. That's why this I minus is adsorbed on AgI precipitate and it become negatively charged. But if Ki solution is added to AgNO3 solution, now we reverse the AgNO3 now is the dispersion medium. Okay, and we are adding the Ki solution. Positively charged salt results due to adsorption of Ag plus ion from dispersion medium. Now again this is the silver iodide, but dispersion medium is AgNO3, which is common between AgI and AgNO3. AgI is common, that's why this Ag plus is adsorbed and it becomes positively charged. See one more example. If FeCl3 is added to excess of hot water, a positively charged sol of hydrated ferric oxide is formed due to adsorption of Fe3 plus ion. Same reason. That's why this is positively charged. When FeCl3 is added to the excess hot water. But if FeCl3 is added to the NaOH, then we will get the negatively charged sol due to the adsorption of OH minus ion. This can be represented like this. Now, having acquired a positive or a negative charge by selective adsorption on the surface of a colloidal particle, this layer attracts counter ions from the medium, forming a second layer as shown below. We can say this is silver iodide. This adsorbs the I minus. That's why from dispersion medium it will attract its oppositely charged ion. That's why K plus ion. This is the second layer. If this AgI and Ag plus is adsorbed, then it attracts I minus. This is the second layer. From this diagram, you can say this negatively charged. This is the first layer. This is Ag plus is the second layer. In this case, this positive ion, this is the first layer, and I minus is a second layer. Now, combination of the two layers of opposite charges around colloidal particle is called Helmholtz electrical double layer. Clear? According to modern views, the first layer of ion is firmly held and is termed as fixed layer. Okay, while the second layer is mobile, which is termed as diffused layer. Okay, now these oppositely charged layers are there. That's why some potential will develop, and this potential difference between the fixed layer and the diffused layer of opposite charges is called the electrokinetic potential or zeta potential. Is that clear? Next one is electrophoresis. The existence of charge on colloidal particle is confirmed by electrophoresis. Now, what is electrophoresis? When electric potential is applied across two platinum electrodes, dipping in a colloidal solution, the colloidal particles move towards one or other electrodes depending on their charge. The moment of colloidal particles under an applied electric potential is known as electrophoresis. In this diagram, you can say, okay, actually these particles, colloidal particles are moving in this side. Okay, it means that this is in this moving. When electrophoresis, that is moment of particles, is prevented by suitable means, that is colloidal particles, the moment of colloidal particles is stopped by any means, then dispersion medium begins to move in an electric field, and this phenomena is known as electroosmosis. When dispersion medium will move, then this is called electroosmosis, and if colloidal particle move, this is called electrophoresis. Coagulation or precipitation. Stability of the lyophobic sol is due to the presence of charge on colloidal particles. We already discussed. If somehow the charge is removed, the particles will come nearer to each other to form aggregates or coagulate and settle down under the force of gravity. The process of settling of colloidal particle is called coagulation or precipitation of the sol. Then number of ways are there. These are some, like electrophoresis we have discussed. By mixing two oppositely charged sols, charge will cancel. That's why mutual coagulation will take place. If you boil it, persistent dialysis, that is, if dialysis is continuously going on, then whatever the requisite minimum amount of electrolyte should be present, it is again removed. That's why it will settle down. By addition of electrolytes, the ions responsible for neutralization of charge on the particle is called coagulating ion, and negative ion causes the precipitation of positively charged whole and vice versa. Colloidal particles are charged. If we add the oppositely charged ion, then neutralization will taking place and it will coagulate or precipitate. Now, Hardy-Schulze rule. The greater the valency of the flocculating means coagulating ion, which will proceed to coagulation added, the greater is its power to cause precipitation. This is known as Hardy-Schulze rule. Whatever the more the valency of coagulating ion, more the precipitation. Okay. Coagulating, we can also say this rule in another sentence. Coagulating power of an electrolyte increases rapidly with the increase in valency of cation or anion. Now see, if we see the negative soul, so this is the flocculating power. Negative soul means positive charge ion will coagulate. More the positive charge, more the flocculating power or coagulating power. Clear? In the same way, if we are having the positive soul, then we will add the negative ion. This is more negative charge. Okay, more negative charge, more the flocculating power or coagulating power. Okay. The minimum concentration of an electrolyte in millimoles per liter required to cause precipitation of sol in 2 hours is called coagulating value. We are having the two words. Coagulating value, this is the concentration of electrolyte. Okay, and coagulating power, this is the charge. This is decided by the charge. This is decided by the charge. Now, what is the relationship between these two? We can say smaller the quantity needed, the higher will be the coagulating power. That's why we can say coagulating value and coagulating power are inversely related to each other. Is it clear? Thank you.